gosh, Karen, you've said so much of all the different, where are you? All the different, you know, the nurses have been incredible. All the different states I've been in, they are a force that have traveled from one state to the next. They're so powerful that in Nevada, people were pretending to be them. And then taking off their shirts, and they were actually on the other side. And so that was pretty tricky. That I thank you all. I worked when I was 17 in a hospital to get money for college, and I know the 3 to 11 shift is a tough one. And I really appreciate everything you're doing, and everything you said is true. And anyone who's voting, who's backing Bernie, who's within the system, and especially a woman, I mean, that really takes courage, because there's so much shaming that's going on of women and anybody that's a Democrat. The Democratic Party seems to have had a real lapse of imagination lately. You know, this whole idea that, I mean, I'm just so thrilled to be, well, I'm thrilled to be here because all of a sudden I feel like I'm part of history and the revolution has started. It's been, I actually don't ever remember having the opportunity to vote for a candidate that wasn't the lesser of two evils. And with Citizens United still in place, I don't know that the opportunity to do that will ever come again in my lifetime. So I feel as if this is a movement and not just an election. I feel like it's an opportunity and not just an election. And I feel like what's happened when I've been in Iowa, I mean, I'm a New Yorker, and you know, all you hockey teams and baseball teams, just relax. We'll put that aside for now. But you know, I haven't been to Iowa lately. I hadn't been driving all around, and I have to say that, you know, seeing all of the recruits that have come in from all over the place, and seeing people, and these thousands of people that were showing up with Bernie, ready to believe, you know, ready to take back, ready to be the machine and not be a victim of the machine, has been so moving to me. And this whole narrative, I was just doing an interview, and the gal said, well, what do you think about this? You know, it's the younger women for Bernie, and then it's all the old women are for, and I'm like, I'm an old woman. I look in this room, and certainly it's not true that everybody is a millennial, and I think the millennials were really quick to get on this because they were on the internet, and since all of our establishment news sources were just not picking up on following him at all, it's taken a long time for people to get the information that they needed to be able to have a choice in this election, because they were selling one product, and that was Hillary. And Trump, because he's like so flashy and, you know, like a stand-up comedian or something for the longest time. And so it was always those two things and no talk. And so sure, the millennials got on it really quickly, but it's not true that there is this divide. And there are a lot of women who have gone to hell with me. Feminists, because they're voting the issues and not their vagina. Not to say that all women are only for her for that, but when you look at her policy, her foreign policy, I mean, anybody that, you know, Henry Kissinger is not the person I want over my shoulder bragging about, you know, following. What I care about in terms of the environment and getting the middle class, saving the middle class, and giving people a decent life, every place where I put my energy is undermined by the very institutions that have been paying for her campaign. So right there I have a real problem. I don't understand it when you bring this up to people. Sometimes they say, oh well, she knows how to play the game, but I'm sick of people playing the game, and I'm not going to wait to see what happens later when she's playing the game. So it's been so scary because people are putting their hearts on the line, you know, and putting their energies on the line to say that they believe that something can actually change. But when you think about it, you know, really did Martin Luther King Jr. say, I don't know, this is going to be kind of hard, I don't know. Apartheid, it's been around for a long time, don't know if we can change that. I don't know, women voting, really? I don't know. It's a little hard to think about. Everything has been hard that is a major change. Everything has been hard that's a major change. And to pretend that cynicism and the status quo is practical, I think is the biggest lie ever. That is not being practical. The way this country is moving now, or has stopped moving, it's a disaster. It's not practical to keep reinforcing that. It's not practical to make all the decisions from this 2% of 1%. It's not practical to hand our country over. And, you know, what's so interesting, I mean, if Vonnegut were around now, he would be having a field day, because it's just the weirdest kind of, to have Trump being seen as someone who's authentically whatever that is, and then Bernie being authentic but actually having specific solutions to things, to have Trump saying, you know, divide and conquer, build walls, throw people out, and to have Bernie saying it's all of us together that have our strength. It's America is everyone pulling for everyone, and we deserve. It's like America just woke up and we've been in a bad relationship for a long time. And now suddenly somebody's saying, hey, you know, you deserve more than that, get out, you know. Your boyfriend, your girlfriend is telling you that you have to stay at home. No, you don't. You can have health care. You know, you can use your health care. Your copay has to come down. We can refinance your school loan. You don't have to pay that off till you're 60. We should have education for everybody. That's what makes us stronger as a country, is us coming together. This country was not founded on building walls. This country was founded, the revolution happened because everybody, and they were crazy people too, right? They got together and they got rid of those guys that were holding them down, and then only a few people said, you know what, let's form a United States. Everybody else was going back, and then a few guys started writing pamphlets like crazy and said, no, let's get together and make a United States. And it took a little bit of selling, and it worked. And now it's time to recommit to that. And now it's time to group again and take back the responsibility and not be lazy and say that we believe we can do it. And when Bernie says, you know, everyone says, how is he going to do it? I don't know why no one ever asks her how she's going to do anything, but they don't. Maybe they're afraid of the answer, I don't know. But when he talks, he says, you know, nobody, if anyone stands up here and says they can do it on their own, they're lying. They can only do it if we stay involved. Obama's got everybody fired up, and then he just kind of left the grassroots on the lawn of the White House and lost all of that. We have to go to the midterm elections. We have to threaten our representatives and tell them what it is that we now know is our right. And it's FDR. It's not like some crazy ass thing. This has happened before. We've been able to have programs that have fixed our bridges and fixed our roads and given jobs to people, and we can have education for everybody, because that makes us stronger. And this idea of dividing is never going to work. And so, you know, to me, that's practical. Not saying, oh, you know, you're just dreaming. Well, yeah, we are dreaming. We're dreaming of something better, and we'll make sure it happens. And this is the guy that has been brave enough. Every single election we were in, where were we? Where we were talking to the guy from Fish. It was Maine. And he had been part of Burlington. He lived in Burlington for a long time, and he said he's watched every single election, starting with the mayor of Burlington. This little New York guy comes in, and everyone says, no, can't possibly be elected. And he says the issue that he ran on was preserving the waterfront and not letting big business come and turn it into condos. He wins that election. Then the next time he goes and wants to get elected, everybody's, no, it can't possibly happen. Look at his programs. He does it again. Then he does it again at the Senate. And all of the things that he's been talking about seemed far-fetched. The bills that he's co-sponsored, the fact that he can work with Republicans. And we are at a stage that's a very, very critical stage. But that's more the reason that we shouldn't just accept the status quo. The status quo is very dangerous. We know what we have with the status quo, and I think that we have the imagination, and that's where it starts. Imagination, empathy, and action. That's how it gets done. And all the people in this room, and I don't see a lot of millennials actually. They're working. Are going to make it happen. We can make it happen, and you know, all these narratives that are coming. This journalist just said to me, "Yeah, but after Nevada, he's over, right?" I wouldn't count on that, you know. And it's so interesting because Trump gets a smaller percentage of that, and everyone keeps saying, "Oh, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid." He's neck and neck with her, and they're ready to say he's over. So again, it's these stories that are coming out that we can't listen to. What we have to do is just get on the phone and drive people to the poll. And here at least it's not going to be a caucus, right? So maybe it'll be a little bit more representative because, as I said, that was a very scary thing. So I just thank all of you for working so hard. I'm really thrilled to be here. This is, looks like, I bet you've had tons of things shot in here. This is like amazing set. It's like Mystic River, so Tim has probably been here. You can feel the history, you can feel that you guys are a tough bunch and nobody tells you what to do, and you're gonna fight for what needs to happen, and we know that about you guys. I know from my days of going to the Ranger games and the Mets. So anyway, thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for having the courage to break from whatever people see as the safe way, and for having the intelligence to look at the issues, to look at the consistency of this guy, to look at how brave he was to stand on the floor of the House and make the speech that he made before the war. That was amazing. He had me at that speech. From that point on, I was his, because I was having a very hard time raising my hand and questioning. You know, I was getting an awful lot of flack and threatened and things canceled and everything else. And so, as a woman, of course, I supported Hillary in the early days. And then when she voted for the war, I was just like, really? You know, as a woman, I expect more of you. You're the one that's carrying the eggs. Come on, you gotta think this through. You know, this is not the way you solve problems, and we have to stop solving problems with violence. This is not helping the world situation. We have to take care of our middle class that we're losing and all the people that are even more vulnerable. We have to focus on the future of our environment and our kids, and make our drugs affordable, all of these things that you're talking about that we are entitled to, that are not a privilege, and we do not need to be told over and over again that we are less. We are more, and together we can do this, and I thank you all for putting in the energy. I'm going to be watching you from New York. Thank you so much for having me.